This week, we talk to one of my favorite flippers and somebody that really knows our business from a bunch of different angles. If you buy and sell vehicles for a profit or you want to, you're in the right place. This is the Flipping Genius podcast. Our number one goal is to help our listeners make more money. Every episode, we share information, ideas, and experiences of real-life car flippers. I'm Randy Lee. I'm the host of Flipping Genius. I've flipped cars most of my life. For over a dozen years now, I've been a licensed dealer. I am working to build the best podcast about successfully flipping cars for a consistent profit. Let's get to it, flippers. Well, flippers, we are in the presence of one of my favorite flippers and one of my favorite songwriters and one of my favorite friends. Torey Boyd is agreed to come on and just share some of his knowledge that's made him some money. And he's got a lot of smart things that he does in his life. And we only have so much time, so he can't tell us about all of them. But Torey has helped me in a variety of ways, in a variety of parts of my life. And it's pretty cool to have you on, Torey.
Glad to be here. I can certainly say the same about you.
Well, you might not be telling the truth, though. But oh man, now Torey and I are both songwriters, and that's how we met. Originally, Torey writes some great stuff. He knows how to play the guitar a lot better than I do, and he doesn't get by on his looks like I do. That's mostly what I do, as you know.
It's tough. It's tough. If you're going to be ugly, you got to be smart.
Well, I know that I'm pretty. It's funny. We were on this off the subject, but I was on a virtual mission trip last week. Torey knows this, and we went to India, and that was frequently the conversation we would talk about. That my partner and I, neither of us had any hair, and a lot of these guys in India have just a great amount of dark wavy hair, and Rick, my partner, was saying that when we get to heaven, we'll all have hair like you guys. And I of course said hair's overrated, so I'm pleased to just have this slick thing that I don't have to comb anything or wash it or nothing. But like I said, it's off the subject. Torey, you do flip some cars fairly frequently. How many vehicles would you say on average that you flip per year?
Not a ton, maybe 2 to 3. We don't really box ourselves into cars,
Right.
But probably just on average, maybe we're probably doing more nowadays. I brought my wife home from work, so to speak. She's now basically what we call a fill-in. She's just kind of a gun for hire in her professional world now.
Yeah,
we figured out that she can make similar money and raise her prices and work a couple days a week to where and make about the same money as she once was making, 4 days a week. So now she's catching all the deals that I would have lost on the day she's here. So moving forward, we'll probably do more. But that's been an average, I guess, over the last few years.
well, that's fantastic. So she's looking for deals, and like you said, you look for deals in other areas, not just cars. But where does she find those mostly?
Primarily Facebook Market. That's primarily, Craigslist. That's primarily where we look.
Okay, yeah, there's not any real magic out there. I keep waiting to find the magic. I've got a few little magic tricks that I use that I've already shared with everybody. But certainly Marketplace and Craigslist and those places we talk about, it's just being consistent. And that's cool that there's two of you working at that. And what a great idea to find a way for Diana. Is okay for me to mention Diana's name?
It is.
Okay, for Diana to cut back on hours and still See, this is what I was talking about, guys. Torey knows how to do a lot of things smart, and this is one of the things that his family's done smart, just to give his wife a little bit more freedom, and then take that freedom and use it to increase the cash flow to the family. So what a great idea! Now you do cars, like I said, but this just for fun. What other kind of things have you flipped successfully?
So, one thing that we do is we try to buy things that we like. So, on the chance we get stuck with them, then it's something that we like. So, for instance, we've flipped several golf carts. The family, we like to get on the golf cart and ride around.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that we've done recently is, especially with the things that we want to keep around, we keep two of them. So the rule is you can't sell unless you have two of them. That way you always have one at your disposal at home, so if the boys want to go on a golf cart ride, then we've got a golf cart to do that. So because, in years past, it's like we would get a nice deal and we would fall in love with something. And then because we could make a profit, we would sell it. So we figured out this smart thing that's working for us now is have two of them. That way, you can't sell your last one. It's like when you're stocking shelves, it's the last item, so you got to restock before you sell. So
yeah, that's a good idea. So the golf carts is why. In fact, Torey and I, we did some Christmas caroling this year, and we drove around on one of Torey's golf carts, and that's what he told me that originally. We got to have two all the time if we sell one. So that was a nice golf cart too. It had 4 seats, and man, that was pretty cool. What other kind of things are you flipping that you like?
Guitars, obviously. Generators.
Generators. Okay,
that's another one.
That's a great one. That's a great idea.
It is a good one.
Oh yeah, because we've been talking about I hate to say it, but we may all need a generator if something happens. Man, so same thing. You're able to find those through Marketplace.
Most of the ones we've bought and sold, have been on Facebook Marketplace.
Now, how do you know that you're paying a good price? I mean, cars. I've learned cars, but cars or guitars, generators, golf carts. How do you know how do you learn what's going to be a reasonable selling price and what's a good deal?
That's a good question. And I will say the first one is always the scariest, obviously. If it's something you've never done before, that's the one where I always do a lot more research, obviously, and see, what do I think these are selling for? Because when you go on Marketplace, obviously you don't know exactly what they sold for, but you see what they're listed for. You Google what a new one cost, mm-hmm. and based on its age and condition, you can kind of, I don't know, I just kind of make up what I think that the value would be to me and what I think I can make in profit. We bottom line want to get at least 30% profit margin. Mm-hmm. So another rule that we have is if we can't make at least a couple of $100 on it, we just don't even waste our time with it. We want to make, and that's just with local deals. If I'm going to go out of town and do something, mm-hmm. I really would have to make probably $500 minimum to make it worth, having to go out of town and, spend the gas and the time and that sort of thing. Sure. But back to your original question, when we're buying something, you look at it and you assume that the new price should be at least half of that. That's kind of a general rule. Yeah. And then just kind of look and see what everybody has them posted for and see if that makes sense. If that's typically where they're falling. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how we get a basis. Now, obviously after you've done a couple of them, you get a lot better idea of the value of, what it'll sell for and what you should pay for it. Mm-hmm. But does that answer your question? Yeah,
and I knew that I knew that you're doing some of these things. I didn't know generators and new guitars is something you've done, and I think this is a kind of a cool time to talk about this. I never talk about flipping anything except for vehicles, pretty much. I don't think on the podcast. But the fact is, all of us right now, as of March 22nd, 2022. I always like to say the date because the fact is podcasts live on forever. So somebody could be listening to this 5 years from now. And the market we're in right now, the car market, I just got back from the car auction just 5 minutes ago, and I'll just give you one example of what I'm facing as a car dealer at the car auction. That I stuck around for one more car that I wanted to give a shot at. It was a 2006 Lincoln Zephyr with about 130,000 miles. Good looking car, but a quick look over, and I could tell it was probably going to need an air conditioning compressor because it wasn't blowing any cold air. It had a broken power window on the right rear window, and that's so I assessed that real quick. So we know we're going to put $400 or $500 into this car just to make it sellable for the dollars that I think I can get for it. I'm thinking I could sell it for $4,000. That's kind of my guess. I sell low, but that's what I thought it would sell for on my lot after it's fixed. And that car rolled through the dealer auction and drew $4,200. And the seller, the dealer who was selling the vehicle, said, "No, I got to get five." So in a marketplace where that's a normal thing, and you're coming up empty on your research, and I hopefully not always coming up empty, but that's, I thought, hey, this is a public service to bring Torey on to talk about how he finds other ways to flip, because you're using a lot of those same tools. So this is pretty cool. And that's, so if you're out there, in Uganda or British Columbia or Boston, people are listening to us all over the world, Torey. If you're out there and you're wondering why are these clowns talking about something other than vehicles, well, that's part of why. But going back to vehicles, and you'll notice I talk a lot, so you have to jump in and interrupt me. But to give you a chance to do that, I'd love to hear the story about that latest flip that I know that you did on the Toyota truck. Can you tell us a little bit about that one?
And I have to give you a huge thank you for your expert advice. Randy came over and he points. So just to start from the beginning, I guess my wife and I, we bought a Tacoma, and we bought it in December of last year, which was 2021. So and because we're very risk averse when we do deals, cars, I don't know a lot mechanically with cars, and I don't know. There's a lot that I don't know. I think I stole that from you, Randy. So what I do is I have a mechanic that I trust, and most cars that I go by, I'll just FaceTime him. I'll just FaceTime him in, and I'll say, what do I need to look for? Tell me how to feel comfortable with this vehicle. And this last one, he was actually at home, and he said, I'll just ride over there with you. So I took him over there. Yeah. And the guy, I had settled on a price on Facebook Market of $5,500. And I go in there with my mechanic, and my mechanics, he took it. I'm like, you just take it, drive it, check it out, and he just told me, he's like, man, this is one of the best ones I've ever drove. I don't see any. It had a lot of cosmetic issues. It had a lot of surface rust on the hood. The arm rest was broken, and the vent visor was just cosmetic things, nothing like mechanically wrong with the vehicle.
What year was it?
Having my mechanic there, he said, I would feel comfortable paying about $5,000 in front of the guy. And I didn't know. I just thought, well, if that's what he's willing to do. So he actually saved me $500 on the difference. I was willing to pay $5,500.
Yeah.
So I got the car or the truck for $5,000, brought it home, listed it. I was trying to make a profit of, after I paid my mechanic $100 for riding over there with me. We titled the thing. seems like we put a battery on it. You know, we had probably $5,300 in the vehicle,
Uh-huh.
you know, net cost. And
What year was that vehicle? How many miles were on it?
it was a 2000 Tacoma, and it had 134,000 miles.
Was that a
Which
regular cab or extended cab?
it was extended cab, and it had a toolbox on. That was another thing I did. I took the toolbox off and immediately sold it for 150 bucks. That was just an extra, you know, 150 because,
Yeah.
you know, I assume whoever's buying a truck, they're going to buy it without a toolbox. So I thought, well, that'll just be an extra profit there, which that actually worked out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just trying to get maybe a couple grand more than, you know, than what we paid. And
Mm-hmm.
then my good friend Randy Lee came over and he said, Torey, if you just take some sandpaper and sand this down and spray paint it, you'll get more money.
Mm-hmm.
And,
And
you know,
now the paint was I mean, they're all standard paints. Were you able to get the paint for that you did the touch up? Was that right off the rack, or did you have to custom order that?
it was right off the rack. Now we did have to, I think we put like 4 cans of spray. I think it was over $100 in just spray paint, but yeah, right off the rack at O'Reilly's. We got the paint. My wife put the bond, she did Bondo on it. So, you know, to try to smooth it out as much as possible. It was not the best looking paint job, but what it did was it took all that surface rust and it kind of just gave it a, I don't know, more of a matte look to it, which
Yeah,
the guy,
if you'll go to flippinggenius.com, we're going to post just some before and after pictures of that truck, just the hood area, so you can see what Torey's talking about is something that every single one of you can do this thing, and it just made it look better. That's what really, we just wanted to make it look better than before, and you've heard me talk about that. I've tried to pass like the 12-foot test from 12 feet away. My car looks good, you know. That's that's what that's what they did. I was so delighted to be able to share something of value with you. That was really cool. But
you certainly did that, and we were we kept getting offers with the surface rust still on the hood, and people kept trying to pay $6,500 for the truck. That's what they consistently. That's what we would get cash offers for.
Yeah.
And I was holding out for closer to 7. And I, you know, the last conversation before we painted it, me and my wife were just like, you know what, we need to just sell this thing for 6,700 so we can just move on and do another deal. But after your conversation, we did the work, or mostly my wife did a lot of the work, so I can't take credit.
See, I told you how smart he is.
So hey, I married up. So
he did too. Every way.
So persistence is key. A side note anyway, but yeah, after the whole thing was said and done, we got $8,300.
Yeah, so along the way you raised the price too.
Exactly right. So yeah, based on the condition, you know, of the condition, because, you know, most buyers, that's just such a deterrent to them to have those cosmetic issues, which for me, I look at what does the motor and transmission look like when I'm looking at a vehicle, but you know, that's not what most people, you know, they look at the cosmetic condition as well. So once we did the work, we raised the price, minimal effort, you know, and it made us that much more money. So thank you, Randy, for.
Oh, that was fun. That was fun to hear the success. But yeah, what a great flip. And you had it for a couple months, but the turnover to you turn around making a couple $1,000, and the thing is, it's part of this crazy market, but it's also partly you bought a Toyota. I mean, you can't hardly lose on a Toyota. Everybody loves those things. And
so we do have we've got a policy at my house, and my wife tries to stray from that, and I have to remind her that I am not comfortable. So, you know, Toyota, obviously Lexus, Honda, Acura, maybe a Z71 in there just for personal, you know, likes, but that's pretty much what we stay with. We don't really get outside of those parameters as far as, you know, the brand of vehicle.
That's an interesting thing. That's interesting that you're targeting that. No doubt that makes a lot of sense. As I think about the struggles I've got across the street at the lot across the street with the Dodge over there, that the transmission that's out of it, and the Ford that is being a Ford this week. Doesn't want to start. And I do have an Acura over there, and she's a gem. And the Chrysler I drove home last night and got lucky on. Yeah, if you stick to Toyota and Honda products, you really pretty much are taking away a lot of the risk. That is pretty smart. Well, that's your latest. So you flipped it, you got your money out of it. How quick will you get back into another vehicle?
Well, we're certainly back to making offers. You know, I don't know what the numbers are on how many offers we make before we actually do a deal, and it changes, you know, obviously, but we're ready. We're looking for the, you know, we've got a cash box, and we have a, you know, we're ready to go. So we're trying to get more inventory, obviously, and we're kind of in an interesting spot right now because we're going to the beach in June. What I'd like to do at this one is buy something big enough for the whole family can go comfortably down to the beach, dependably. Use it that week and then bring it back and sell it for a profit. That's kind of my latest.
That's a great idea. Now you do something similar to that with a boat once a year. Isn't that true?
We do. So yeah, for the last several years, my family and I have rented out the local state park, and we'll go over for a week and you know, hang out. And it's right on the Tennessee River, so you know, it's water sports is a big part of the fun over there. So what we've been doing the last, I know we've done 3 or 4 boat flips. So we'll buy a pontoon boat. Typically, you know, in the colder months, when, you know, like November, December through maybe March, and when nobody's thinking about pontoon boats, and you know, you can get a better deal during those months, obviously, and then hold it to, you know, May. We usually go Memorial Day, the week of, you know, that weekend. We'll go a week, and then use the boat for a week, and then, you know, that's been one of the quickest things that you can flip. I mean, if you've got a good looking pontoon boat with a good motor on it, it will sell immediately.
That's awesome. And so you're buying it when the demand is way down, and you're selling it when the demand is high.
Right.
Yeah. Now you when you're doing, I mean, this is a vehicle, folks. So I mean, a boat is a vehicle. I have no experience with boats. All I ever think of is that thing where everybody says the best day of a boat owner's life is the day he buys it and the day he sells it. And I've always been afraid of them. Do you run into a lot of mechanical issues with boats?
So I've owned about, I guess, maybe 5 or 6 boats, and the only one was last year. I did, and it really was kind of, we got out there and we had motor problems with this boat that I had bought, and so it did kind of, it was kind of frustrating because we didn't get, you know, we got like a couple days out of it, and then it went down on us, so we couldn't use it the rest of the time. But having a mechanical friend at your disposal is huge. So I called my buddy. I'm like, hey, here's what's going on, and he's like, you know, okay, well, you know, bring it in, I'll look at it. So he was able to look at it, tell me what the issue was. We got the parts ordered, and you know, and fixed it, and it really was. I think it only cost me a couple $100 to fix it, and so we bought that one for $12,500, I think, and then we sold it for $18,000.
Okay.
So even with the mechanical, you know, there was enough window there, you know, to make a nice profit. We just had to deal with the frustration of you know, not having the boat in service the full time.
So you're making money on vacation. That's a pretty cool.
Well, you know, if you think about it, when you go over there, they have the pontoon rentals, and they're going to charge you like, you know, $250, $350 a day and I'm thinking, I don't want to pay. How do I enjoy it and, you know, and make a profit? So that seemed to be the best way. Now you're taking a risk, obviously. You're taking a huge risk because, like you said, boat motors are notoriously known for having problems. And I think if you're a boat owner, at some point you're going to experience just that, you know. So you kind of have to factor that in there. As you know, I know I'm taking a risk, but so far in the deals we've done, you know, you just try to do as much research as possible. I know that, like I said, the very first pontoon boat I bought, I was nervous as I could be. You know, I go, it was an older gentleman. And, you know, I'm asking him all these questions, and he just happened to have records from Cabela's of when they had maintenance. And I just took his paper and called Cabela's right there on the spot, like, hey, tell me about this motor. Was it, you know, and just any, you know, any homework you could do, or, you know, you have to work with obviously the information that you have, but that helped set me at ease because Cabela's was like, hey, yeah, that was just in here. Everything's motor. So then I felt confident that, you know, at least within the last month that everything was good with the motor.
Yeah, that's nice. And so this latest one, even it was your problem child, really, but you wound up making that. You said 12,500.
Well, you know, let's see. Yeah, 12,500. But then, so when I was buying,
everybody knows that I drive around in a $325 car. So I when I hear 12,500, I think $1,250. So I have to ask, you know, for clarification, because I hold on to my dollars so tight. But okay, so I'm that's why I was asking the question. So but you made over $5,000 on that boat.
I think we made around 4,000 because I did put some work into that boat.
Okay.
When the guy was pulling up, because I was going to give the guy 13 for it, and when he was parking it for me to back my truck up, the money hadn't changed hands, and I heard water slushing in the pontoon, and I said, that's a problem. So I crawled up and under it, and sure enough, I could see where they had put like JB Weld, and they had obviously had a hole in the pontoon. So I'm like, hey, you know, here's an issue. So he knocked $500 off. Then I took it to a welding shop, and that cost me, you know, some money. It seems like there may have been other things that I did to it.
Okay. But still, if you made 4 and then you saved a couple $100 a day at least in rental, that makes the whole vacation experience more fun, I think.
It paid for the whole vacation. Yes, it was.
That's beautiful, and that's a great idea to do the same kind of thing with a nice size Toyota SUV that you're going to cruise down to the beach and come back and sell it for a profit. I love that just that functional flipping. That's what we call it, functional flipping. We just dreamed that up, folks. That's a patented term now.
Oh, that's not a term that you've used before.
No, I just created that just now. Functional flipping.
I'm gonna tell my wife that we're gonna do a functional flip.
Yeah, functional flip. Maybe we have to have we can maybe write a book about it and get people to pay us. By the way, folks, I do welcome your money anytime you'll send it to me. And speaking of that, I'm going to jump in right here and thank all the folks who have gone in and helped us with the fundraiser for Marek, our guest in episode 111, and the folks over in Poland who are helping the Ukrainian refugees. It's going really great. Today I spoke to the group of car dealers here locally, and I had one guy commit to give $500 from his dealership, and the head of the Alabama Independent Auto Dealers Association. You've heard Randy Jones on here before. He's getting the word out. So I think we may be closing in on our goal of $10,000 when you listen to this. I mean, we're quite a ways away from it, really, as we speak. But I just know that the wheels are moving. So while I was thinking about it, I just want to thank anybody who's been generous enough to go to van4kids.com and donate money. It's really cool. I love the idea that we're helping folks over there. If you're like me, you're thinking, what can I do to help these people that are going through this stuff? And that was something we can do. So thanks and I'll shut up about that and, and get back to this. Oh, but one of the reasons that I know Torey, you have given us a bunch of good ideas. I mean, on how to make money on vacation. I love that one. How to have your wife help you do the work. That's pretty smart. One of the things that people don't know about you that I know about you is you were on a national radio show and you said those magic words. What were those words?
I'm debt free.
That's right. Yeah, Torey and Diana were on the Dave Ramsey show, and they lived the life that I encourage everybody to try to live, that debt-free life. We've talked about before that, as a car dealer, I really can't get behind offering financing. It just bugs me because I don't want to do it myself. I don't want to encourage other people to do it. And but as much as I try to do the Dave Ramsey way, and my wife and I have done a pretty good job of it, Torey and Diana are like ninjas at this thing. So, and that allows you this freedom to, like Dave says, live like no one else, so you can live like no one else. So having that ability to make these investments largely comes from being smart and not owing everybody out there. So I'm telling your story. I should be asking you questions and have you tell a story, but that's why I'm not making millions of dollars as a radio host like old Dave Ramsey.
He does a great job, and I would say flip like no one else. So later you can flip like no one else too, because that we started out, flipping guitars, or I did. This was before I met Diana, and it generates a few $100s, and ultimately what I want to get to do is maybe flip land and flip houses, and the only way we would do that is to do it with cash. And to do that, you have to have a lot of cash to, obviously, if you're going to buy large tracts of land, or houses or that sort of thing. So that's kind of what our future goals are. We've been looking at, houses and, land. I'd like to have some land so my two boys can hunt and, get out there and camp and do whatever we want to do. So that's on our radar now. And that's a new experience for me too. So I'm, being the risk averse guy I am, I'm trying to educate myself all I can. And the market is so crazy right now. It's like, are you paying a good price? I don't know. So being slow to act, maybe, I could certainly look at stuff that I could have bought several years ago and how I would have doubled my money now. But being so risk averse sometimes will cut you out of deals too. So, but
it can, but it's better. I think it's better to be cautious and learn. But it is. I know when I first started the Flipping Genius podcast, that was one of the things we talked about, is that you see all these people out flipping houses on television and things like that, and it is wonderful when it works. But flipping cars is something we can do for a lot less money. I think I say that right in the opening of the show. And you were flipping guitars, same kind of concept. I talked to a gentleman one time who's a much more experienced at this stuff than I am, and a long time car flipper and car dealer down in Texas. And I was telling him, that I've got people listening to the podcast all around the world, 58 countries right now. And I was trying to figure out, why are they listening to me in Africa and in India? And he said the thing is, they're flipping there, for one thing. But he told me a story of a young man that he was helping who was flipping bicycles. And then he flipped a couple bicycles, saved up his money, and now he's flipping mopeds and then motorcycles. And he was actually, at this point when we had this discussion, he was saving, he was hunting to purchase his first car for a flip, but he had worked up to that point. And so this concept that we're talking about, whether we call it functional flipping, our new trademarked phrase, or you're just you're flipping the Dodge Ram truck I talked about last week, or you're flipping the Toyota, or you moved up to land, or you're moved up to houses. The concepts are all the same. You make your money when you buy it. make sure that you're buying it right, do your homework, um, and you'll get better and better at this. And it's so cool to listen to Torey talk about success that he's had on in different levels. And I just think it's awesome. By the way, I flipped a piece of land this week. Pretty excited about that. And what I love it when everybody's happy. And I got two deals this week. One of them I wanted to is the land deal. It's actually in Oklahoma, and my buyer's excited because he's going to be able to put a he's going to build a cabin on it, and he's going to have a steady flow of income through Airbnb in a different state, because he's not in Alabama, but he's not in Oklahoma either. And so that's a win-win, because I walked away with a nice profit on it, and never even been in Oklahoma in my whole life. So that's kind of cool. And then the other one, I promised everybody I'd tell you about it. I've got a '01 Dodge Ram pickup truck that I bought, and was real happy with it for about the first 100 feet until I realized it wouldn't go out of first gear. And exciting stuff. Again, I love to sell stuff where everybody's happy. That one I didn't sell, actually traded for a '05 Chevy Malibu with a mechanic. It's got a motor and transmission that are just perfect, and cold air conditioning. And my guy's delighted to have this truck because it's going to help him pull his boat and his camper. And once he fixes the transmission, which he knows how to do, and I'll have a vehicle that I can put somebody in that'll get them to work and to church and to school or wherever they want to go. And I'll be able to sleep at night, which that's one of my favorite things. I love it when the people that buy it are the people that should buy it, and that seems to happen a lot. And I think not being in a hurry, not having to make the deal, it seems to help, and all of that goes back to not doing floor planning, which is another. I don't know if you know what that is, Torey. That's where you're borrowing money to fill up your lot, and then you're hoping to sell them within 30 days, so you don't have to pay an interest charge. And I don't want any part of that. But I'm sure Dave Ramsey's not. I'm sure Dave wouldn't have any part of that either.
No, if we don't have the cash to to buy something, we wouldn't consider purchasing anything without cash. So that in itself gives you a lot of peace, because you're not worrying about those sort of things.
Yeah.
So cash is key.
Another thing I was just thinking about is so cool. Torey's got two young sons, and he's a great daddy. I admire you a lot, man. And so do your sons? I know your one son's very young, but your older boy, does he get involved in any of this stuff? Does he know what you're doing?
He actually just did his first deal that I made him, like, I just kind of hovered in the background in the sky. One of my other buddies that we fish a lot with, he had a spreader that he was just he's like, JJ, you want this to just make, some money? Excuse me. Jay's like, sure. So he gave him the spreader.
No, what's a spreader? I don't know what that is.
It's like fertilizer for your yard.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You push it around and it shoots all the fertilizer out.
Yeah, I was thinking some kind of fishing thing. Well, okay, yeah, all right.
So and we listed it for like, I don't know. I think Jay sold it for like $20. Not a lot of money, but it is to him because he's 13. So $20 buy him 20 packs of gum or whatever he wants to do with it. So I listed it up for him on Marketplace, and and let him kind of But when the deal was ready, though, that I made him go out and do the deal with the guy, and I stayed in the house, like
that's beautiful
for safety reasons. But other than that, like, and the guy was like, I want to see it work. So JJ has the demo the thing for the guy, So luckily he knew how it worked. So
awesome. So he got his 20.
He did get his 20,
and he got it for free.
he got it for free. Yeah, because my buddy just wanted it out of his garage.
Beautiful.
So my wife just reminded me. She just made a note and just like held it up. And we have done so many. I mean, the whole time we've had Jay, I mean, it's like he's just seen us do these deals and do
Yeah.
these deals. And when he was like 3, he was fascinated with horses. And he looked at us one day and he's like, "How much do you think I could get a used horse for on Craigslist?" And that was one of our favorite quotes from JJ, was a used horse on Craigslist. That was how he was planning to buy that.
He was 3? How old was he
He
then?
was like 3 or 4. I mean, it was like he was young. He's like, "Can I get a used horse on Craigslist?"
That's beautiful. I mean, and that's what I just know. I'm super proud of my son Tony. He's so much smarter than me, and I know they learn along the way. I remember back a long time ago. I had 2 boys. One of my sons passed away a long time ago. But my boys would travel with me in the car, and I've always been in business for myself in one way or another, and I've always been looking for a way to to sell and make money. And one of the things I taught my boys is I told them, if you see dirt, that's a place where Daddy can make money. So look for dirt. And they would just, and I always say, this old football term I've used a zillion times on the podcast and everywhere else: keep your head on a swivel. And I'd say, keep your head on a swivel, look for dirt. And the guys, we would travel back and forth between Chattanooga and Huntsville, because at the time I lived there and they lived over here with their mom, and they would constantly be looking for dirt, and that meant new construction. That meant new opportunities for me in various businesses I was involved in, and I know that kind of thinking impacted my sons a great deal, and my son Tony is very successful in a variety of ways now, and it's those little things that we teach him along the way, and flipping is just what if you can take something like Torey's done. You can buy a boat, enjoy the boat, and then sell the boat and pay for your whole vacation with the profit from the boat. That's a pretty beautiful thing to be able to do, and to teach your children to do that. What a cool thing, and to share it with your wife. I get excited about it still, even after 112 episodes. I still get excited about this stuff.
It's so much fun. I mean, I don't know, that's a passion that I have, and I don't know if everybody feels that way. I would assume the people that listen to this podcast feel that way. But every deal you do, you get to meet people, and as long
except
as
for Ryan, our buddy Ryan, he just likes to listen to it because he thinks we're cool.
Well, Ryan he's on a whole different level than me. He's so successful. I
thought it'd be fun to mention him, because our buddy Ryan listens to the podcast every week, and he said he doesn't like to flip stuff. He just likes to listen to us. So that's
he's already got all the money. He doesn't have to flip anything. That's what's going on.
That's probably it, huh?
That's exactly what he would never tell you that, but that's what's going on with him.
I'm pretty sure you and I will keep flipping no matter how much money we get.
I agree with that.
It's in our blood.
There's something about just the negotiation, and just keep everything open and honest with everybody, and it just, I don't know, it just really it gets the blood going, and just makes you, I don't know, I just enjoy it. It's a passion of mine, and I think you're right. I don't think even if money were not even in the equation, I think we would still do it just to get the enjoyment out of it.
I believe so too, and frankly, if you're not watching this on video, you'll be able to watch it on video. But if you're listening to the audio version, in the background on Torey's side is the American flag, and it reminds me, this is just an all-American activity. The idea that you can take the world we live in, and take an opportunity and find an opportunity to make money, and anybody can do it. You don't have to be a genius, that's for sure. You don't have to have a lot of money. You can have no money, like JJ, Torey's son, took no money and turned it into 20. And who knows what he's going to do with that 20. I'm excited to hear where JJ goes with that, because that's going to be really cool.
It's exciting. And to your point, yeah, there's a free section in Craigslist where people, they just want things gone, or, there's so many opportunities in America to make money. It's just, people, I mean, it's like Dave says, rich people are allergic to leaves. Just go buy yourself a leaf blower and, go to the rich neighborhood, and you can probably make $30 an hour just blowing leaves out of people's yards. I mean, there's so much opportunity in this country. It's just, if you have the motivation, you can be successful. So.
Yeah, well, those are some great words for us to end on. And I don't want to tie up your whole morning. I know you're a busy guy, and I appreciate so much you taking the time to just tell us a little bit about it.
I've had a blast. Thank you for asking me on.
Man, it's really cool. And we're this should be on probably this coming week, if you want to tell everybody you know, man. And I do want to invite everybody to join the car flipping forum, where we can share ideas like this. And I ask you to possibly consider becoming a flipping team member, or a flipping partner, or flipping champion. You help support the podcast, and throw a couple bucks my way, and I try to give you way more value than you pay. And talking about throwing bucks, please consider kicking in and helping with van4kids.com, as we help the folks over in Poland, help the folks in Ukraine. It's just something we can do. One of these days I'll stop asking you to do that, and probably the day that we hit the number, and that could be happening soon. You go ahead and go online right now and drop a $5 bill, or a $2 bill, or a $500 bill, whatever you got. You may be the one that puts us over the top, and that'd be pretty cool, man. But
what is the link, Randy? I didn't catch that.
Oh, it's called van4kids.com.
Thank you.
And I'm not trying to get you to donate, Torey, but but if you want to, that's fine. Hey, everybody, let's work together. Let's all make some money. Let's all become flipping geniuses.